Hello, everybody. Welcome to Real Thoughts with Bob Benham. I am your host, Bob Benham, and who else would be the host, considering it's my name? And let's see, what a crazy couple weeks it's been. Of course, our wonderful Democrat politicians are already doing the old attack Donald Trump any way you can thing. Um, no surprise there. We knew it was going to happen. They did it in 2016, and they're doing it again. Uh, what else is new? Anyway, it is what it is, and we're just going to have to live with it. I'll get into more of that garbage in another episode. Right now, I want to talk about something a little bit different. Um, I'm going to go and try to talk about something that's, I hope it's a little bit inspirational to people. I'm coming up on a anniversary of a major event that occurred in my life. Let's see, 22 years ago, um, uh, right before Thanksgiving. Like I said, it was a major event. I ended up uh, having a stroke, and talk about life changing. Uh, it was completely life changing, turned my life upside down. Um, I was just completed 12 and a half years serving on the police department. Excuse me. And uh, so I was past the halfway point of my career. And so that to have that rug just basically yanked out from underneath me was completely devastating. I mean, what else can you say about it? You're full throttle going through your life, and to have everything just come to a complete stop. Uh, wow. Uh, you just don't expect that. So, uh, to say that I went through depression is putting it mildly. I went through a major depression as a result of it. Just to kind of uh, give you an idea of what happened that night, I had went to bed uh, just like normal. Had gotten my uniform together, hung it up in the closet, laid everything out like I normally did before I went to bed, and went to sleep uh, about 10 p.m. that night. And my wife at the time, she worked night shift. I worked day shift, and about 1:30 a.m., I woke up and I couldn't breathe. I was having a really, really difficult time breathing. And I just about 10 months prior, I was diagnosed with sleep apnea. So I had a CPAP machine. And I thought, well, maybe there was a power outage. And I reached up with my left hand because I'm left handed and pulled the mask off my face. And the air was still being pumped through the CPAP machine. So I thought, well, that's kind of strange. There's no power outage and the air's coming out. So why am I having such a hard time breathing? And so I reached over and shut the CPAP machine off. And excuse me. And so I figured, well, I'll roll over onto my right side and see if I can't position myself to catch my breath. And so I went to roll over, and I did, and I ended up on my stomach and face, and my right arm was up underneath me. I rolled over on top of it, and my legs kind of twisted like a pretzel into a knot. And I'm like, this is weird. And then it was then I noticed that I couldn't feel anything on my right side. It was all numb. Like I just had zero feeling, nothing on my right side. And I thought, well, that's kind of weird. I mean, I can't feel nothing, absolutely nothing. So at that time, we had two dogs, and one of them was laying right next to me on my right side. Well, she had moved and let me roll over, and then she laid down on my left side since that was the side toward her. And the other dog, he was laying at my feet. Well, he's just plopped down right back down next to my legs. And I said, well, I thought, well, I'll tell them to move so I could try to get resituated and try to get my leg or my arm pulled out from underneath me. And so I went to talk, and I went to say, Davey, move. And I couldn't talk. Could not talk at all. And it was then I first thing that popped in my head was, my God, I'm having a stroke. And I was just, I thought, wow, I need help. I need help bad. I need it now. Well, we didn't have, cell phones were just starting to become a thing back then. And so I didn't have one. And so I had to get over to my wife's side of the bed to get to the phone. And so I kind of wiggled my way over there, and I thought, well, I'll call her to let her know I'm calling for paramedics to come get me. And so I made it to the phone. I called my wife at work, and of course, she just happened to not be at her desk. And the officer that answered the phone, I know he thought I was drunk. And because I couldn't talk. I just couldn't talk. I know I had to sound drunk or something, because I slurring my words, I just couldn't talk. And I let him know I was calling for the paramedics, calling 911, and I hung up. And so I immediately, as soon as I hung up, I let go and I dialed 911. And the firefighter that answered the phone, he was fabulous, very understanding, very good. And he said, do you think you can get to your front door? And I said, I'm not sure. He says, well, if you can't, we're going to have to take your door down to come get you. Because I told him I was on the second floor of my house. That's where the bedroom was. And he says, if you can want to try it, try it. If you can't make it, give us a call back. I said, okay. So I hung up the phone with him, and I thought, well, I'm going to give it a try. So I wiggled myself back to my side of the bed, and at that time we had we had an extremely high bed. We had just bought this. It was one of the first edition memory foam mattresses, and that doggone thing was probably 20 inches deep, and plus it had a pillow top on top of it. I mean, this thing was, it was huge. And so I rolled off it right onto the floor, and I know I hit with a thud. And I just crawled using my left arm and leg, drug myself into the hallway, kept falling down, and with my face planting into the rug, the carpet, and I drug myself into the hallway, and I was able to reach up and turn the hallway light on. And the way our house was laid out, we had the hallway, and then the stairs went you turned in the hallway and the stairs went down, and we had an open floor plan so you could see the living room, dining room, and we had a loft right at the top of the stairs so you could see that from the front door. I mean, so if you looked right through the front door, the windows at the top of the front door, you could see everything there, and you could see right at the top of the stairs to the loft and the bed, and then the hallway to the bedrooms. So I figured if I could get to that top of the stairs, the firefighters could see me. I could just wave them in. So I crawled again and stumbled, face planted more to the top of the stairs. And once I made it there, I noticed there was no red flashing lights in front of the house yet. And I thought, well, they're not here yet. And I started looking at the steps and the front door, and I thought, man, if I can get to that front door, they're not going to take it down. That'll save me some money. I don't have to worry about getting it fixed and having them trying to secure it before they have to go back to the station and all that stuff. So all of a sudden, out of the clear blue, I thought about my grandparents' house when I was growing up, when I was a kid, and how I used to slide down the stairs at their house. And I said, you know what? I can do this. So I propped myself up and sat, and I just slid down the steps right down to the bottom. And right when I got to that landing at the bottom of the stairs, I could see the red flashing lights off, uh, reflecting off the fireplace and all that inside the house. And I was like, oh God, they're here. Thank goodness. And so I wasn't far from the door at that point, and I just kind of made my way to the door, and I reached up and I twisted a deadbolt, and went to turn the door handle, but they got to the door handle first, and as soon as they pushed the door in, I kind of just wiggled out of the way of hair, and they pushed the door in. I was right there on the floor. And the first firefighter through the door, I knew him because I parked my cruiser at their firehouse. And they were like, Bob, what's wrong? And I went to talk, and I couldn't say nothing coherent. And they were like, oh my God, don't worry, we got you taken care of. Don't worry about it. And it just happened at that point, the paramedics pulled up in the ambulance, and they were like, get in here, get him loaded up, let's go. And they did a load and go on me and got me headed toward the nearest emergency room, and off we went. And on the way to the emergency room, the poor firefighter was in the medic. He was trying to get an IV started, and he was doing it on my right arm. And he kept going. We kept, Columbus is where I worked, and I was a police officer there. And the poor Columbus fire medic that was trying to start the IV, he kept trying. And Columbus roads are horrible. They're just horrible. So we kept hitting potholes left and right, trying to get to the emergency room. So he's trying to start the IV. I mean, and he kept hitting potholes, and he kept going, oh, I'm sorry. He says, I'm sorry. And I kept going, don't worry about it. I can't feel anything. He was doing it on the right arm, and that's the arm that was dead. So anyway, we get to the emergency room, and they wheel me in, and they get me taken care of. And the emergency room doctor there at the hospital, she was a resident ER doctor, and I thank God every day uh, for her. I wish I knew her name. I have no idea. I don't remember. But she was fabulous, absolutely fabulous. Um, when my late wife showed up to the ER and saw what was happening, my late wife thought I was just having an asthma attack because the officer that answered the phone call and gave her the message that I was on the way to the hospital just told her I was dialing 911, that they were coming to get me, to take me to the hospital. That's all she knew. So, and I have asthma, so she figured I was just having a severe asthma attack, and they were taking me to the hospital for that. Well, I was 36 years old. Who's going to think stroke, you know? So she got to the hospital, and the ER doctor telling her, we think he's having a stroke. And she's like, what? And she says, yeah, we believe he's having a stroke. And so she goes, well, if you think it, do what you got to do. And so the ER doctor's uh, doing her thing. And she comes up to me and she says, everything in this book in my pocket tells me that you're having just a bad migraine headache. I said, yeah, I kind of figured that the best I could. And she goes, but my gut is telling me you're having a stroke. And I said, I looked at her, I said, go with what your gut says. And she said, okay. And I'm so glad she did. I am just thrilled to death that she did. And so she says, if you were my family member, I'd have you transferred to such and such hospital because they're a trauma unit. We're not a trauma unit here. We don't handle neurological traumas. And I said, make it happen. So that's what she did. And so it happened. They sent me there. They immediately had me send in for an MRI. And there it was. The clot was in the brain. And unfortunately, it was in a very bad area. And it affected quite a bit. I was totally paralyzed on my right side to the point where it even affected my organs on the right side, which included the lungs and things like that. It shut down my right lung and other organs on the right side of the body. Fortunately, I got a lot of that back that day. My lung function started working again. A lot of the functions, organs started returning. The only things that I still have issues with are fine motor skills, walking, and I can't run. Things, so some small stuff. But I went through a full year of rehab, and I had to completely learn how to walk and talk again and use my right hand and stuff. So that was very tough. That 1 year was hard. I worked my tail off to be able to do that again, because that my late wife arrived at the emergency room, And she had that look on her face because the ER doctor had just told her what they were treating me for. And she came in and saw how bad I was. And the first thing told her was, I will be as close to normal again as I can. I will be, so, and she looked at me and she says, yeah, okay. And like that, crazy kind of look. Uh, but I mean, but most people that I run into, and when they find out that I'm a stroke survivor, they look at me and they go, I would have never known you had one. So, that's a good thing. So that tells you how hard I worked my rehab and stuff, and I firmly believe in rehabilitation, especially when uh, you have some kind of physical ailment like knees, hip, any kind of uh, surgery, whatever injury. Do the rehab. Do what they tell you and work hard. Do it at home when they tell you, say, do it when between sessions and everything. Do the rehab because it works. It will get you back. Yes, it hurts. It hurts like hell. It will. I mean, it. There's just no way around it. You have to do it to be able to come back. That's just how. That's all you can do. You don't have a choice. So make sure, please, do the rehab. But yeah, I mean, it came back, and I survived it. Um, it was tough. It was very tough. Uh, but do the work to come back from it, and I mean, I did it. I did it. It was not easy. I mean, it was. Oh God, I came home. Oh, I would say probably 85% of the time, I came home with such horrible headaches from the doing the work that they put me through at the rehab centers. That I mean, I would be just totally spent and headaches and stuff that I mean, I was pretty much done for the day. Um, but it I just I knew I had to do it to become or just to be able to be uh, as normal as I could be. Um, and it was a positive outcome, and that's all I could ask for was a positive outcome from it. Um, so I mean, yes, it was a tough experience, um, but I did it. So yeah, I can't complain with the way it went. And um, so if you end up having the same thing happen to you, uh, please uh, do what the doctors say and the nurses and the rehab uh, people. And now those people are even doctors. They have to get doctorates to become rehab therapists. Uh, so listen to them. They know what they're talking about. They know what they're doing. Um, and yes, it is not fun. It is painful. It makes you uncomfortable. Yes, it is. It's not fun. It is not fun. Um, but do it. You have to if you want to be like you were or as close to what you were prior to all all that happening. You just have to. It's all there is to it. Um, so that's what I need to. I'm trying to express here is that it just needs to be done. So for me, um, it worked. It worked, uh, and it took a lot of hard work. But I am here to tell you, I'm glad I did it. I am glad I did it. Um, and if one person, because they're here listening and watching, um, if it works for them, and if I can inspire them to do that, then fabulous. That is just fabulous because, um, you know, uh, it ain't easy, but the results make it more than worth it. Um, I it gave me the last 22 years. Um, my neurologist told me that if that ER doctor that I first saw hadn't gone with her gut, that I would have been in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. So if it weren't for her going with her gut and then me getting treated for the stroke and not a migraine headache, and then me not going through the therapy and all that needed to be done, um, I wouldn't be sitting here and I wouldn't be able to walk. I wouldn't be able to talk. Um, and I'd have been sitting in a wheelchair and probably, I don't know what. I probably wouldn't even be here probably now. So, I've had 22 years of being able to live and enjoy life. Um, I've got a second wife now after losing my late wife. Um, I've got two new stepdaughters, two new step grandchildren. I'm still in contact with my last stepdaughter, stepson. Um, I mean, I still have my friends, and you know, I can't ask for anything more. I can't, and life to me is uh, is a gift. Every day that I have is a gift because it could have all been really bad that day, and if the doctors and nurses hadn't have done um, what they needed to do to get the ball rolling and treating me for a stroke and not a headache, migraine headache, um, wow, I would have been living a whole different life. And uh, I'm glad that I'm not living that different life than what I have now. Uh, so do what they tell you, please. Um, it is not fun, and like I said, it's the after effect of it, especially for me. Um, After I lost my career, because it took about a year for the m- obviously when you go through have to go for disability pension for police fire. uh they go through everything. for your health. Um, and obviously, they're going to deny that the stroke is duty related and blah, 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 blah. I mean, that was a big, drawn out fight. Um, but at the end, it was certified as duty related. And then I had some additional injuries from the course of my career that were also included in on that. And so I was granted a total disability, total and permanent disability, I'm sorry, from the police department. And that was it was tough to take. Like I said, I was just past the midpoint of my career. And it was hard to walk away from that because it wasn't on my terms. So when it's not on your terms, it's a whole different situation. And I went into a very severe depression for, gosh, probably about a good 2 or 3 years. And I, uh, I didn't know how bad it was until one day, um, my late wife and we went to a Wendy's restaurant to get some lunch, and we went through the drive-through, and she went to pay for it, and for some reason I don't even remember why or what the circumstances were or what, but all I remember, she went to get the change, and I didn't like I told her how to get the change, and she didn't get it the way I told her to get it, or something, or whatever. And I ended up exploding on her. I mean, I just went off. And it was so bad. I mean, it, I've never done that before in my life. Never. And I just remember the look on the cashier's face. I remember the look on her face. And I remember myself screaming and yelling. And I remember how angry and tense and just how just how I'm sure some of you just know just how everything's just coming out, and that's how I was. And when I saw her face, I just kind of started to calm down a bit, and I looked at her, and she looked at me. She says, "Do you realize what you are doing and what's going on?" And I looked at her, and I was like, "Oh my God, I need to get help." And she just looked at me, and I said, "I am so sorry. I don't know what caused that to happen like that." And we got home, and we had that lunch, and I apologized all through it. And as soon as we got done eating, I got on the phone. I started calling around to find somebody to go to to get help. And I started, for counseling because I was like, boy, that just can't happen again. So I immediately did that, and uh, because that was I just couldn't happen again. It just couldn't. And I didn't realize how bad it was messing with me in the head wise, that because it was all sitting, deep down inside, that all that, losing my career, and um, actually everything that I'd seen and done, and everything all that stuff just gets bottled up, and you don't know how how you just don't realize that it's sitting there like that. And finally, it just all at once, it just all exploded. And then I started going through counseling and stuff, and that really helped. It really helped. Um, and um, so it made me a better person for it. And I strongly suggest that too. If things are, bothering you, uh, talk to somebody. Go find a counselor. I mean, um, it's that first visit or two. Uh, yeah, it's odd. Um, it feels strange. Um, it takes a little bit because you got to, you're opening up your life to somebody strange, and that's not easy. That is very, very difficult. Um, and it takes a little bit to feel like you can do that, and it just takes it. I mean, it takes courage and strength to do that, to open up what is inside of you, and let your guard down, to do that, because um, it's not easy. Like, I mean, I'm like myself. I'm one of these people that everything from my life sits right here, and it just stays there. Um, I'm not one to just freely, okay, let it go. And I'm not one that freely just says what's there. Um, so to have to finally do that, um, it's not easy to do. It's not easy to say, hey, I got this, and this is this, and this, and this, and this. It's not easy to have that happen. Um, so to finally do that, it takes courage. It's really it's tough to sit there and say, okay. But the thing of it is, once you start to do it, it gets easier to do. And you realize that a lot of things that you were holding on to, that it starts to relieve that pressure. And you start to realize that all that pressure that was inside of you, um, you start to feel good about yourself, because you're hearing yourself talk about it. Which a lot of times that's just what you need. You just need to hear yourself talk about it because you can talk yourself through things by doing that. Um, Two, it, by relieving that pressure, you you're just giving yourself a chance to be able to relax, and to just say, okay, we got this. We can just take a deep breath and start to enjoy what life has to offer and be able to um, include um, more people and be able to include uh, just the beauty of life into your life more. Um, you just start to open yourself up to everything around you instead of just being closed off into your own little world. Um, and that's a wonderful thing. I mean, um, I find myself appreciating the beauty of the outdoors, l- especially just. I mean, I enjoy watching sky watching uh, crazily, especially nights. I love stargazing and I love watching for the meteorites and uh, the positions of the stars every night. Hey, the Big Dipper's over here tonight, and it's over here tonight. That kind of thing. Um, Looking for the satellites streaking across the sky, seeing how many I can count that night. Um, just the simple things, just to be able to ease that stress of carrying around all that stuff that's that's just been bottled up and held very tightly, and to be able to release that tightness and that stress, um, and that's what counseling does. It helps to be able to release that, um, and it's needed. It really is needed. And please, I I can't stress it enough. It is, if you don't open yourself up to it, the alternatives to not doing that, um, are just, I mean, can be just horrific. Um, and I can tell you from experience, um, how bad that can be. Um, I've had so much tragedy in my life, um, that and that's one of them. Um, my late wife suffered from depression, and that depression took her from me. and took her from herself. And what's hard is y- she was one that she had threatened uh, suicide many, many times, and each time it was a call for attention, and so when and every time I gave her the attention, but the day that she finally did it, she never threatened it. And she just did it. And that was, I can tell you that that was the second day in my life where basically my life ended. Because I had spent 27 and a half years with her. And at that point in my life, that was well over half my life. And as they say, and I never believed it till that happened, but when you love somebody and you lose somebody that you're in love with, when they die, you die. And that's a fact. I had to relearn how to live. And it's been a journey to do that. Um, it took a while to get to breathing again, literally. Um, and it took a while to get to feeling again. And it took a while to get to thinking again. Um, but we got there. Uh, it still hurts. Not going to lie about that. Um, and the one thing I can honestly, I could just tell you is when it comes to going to anything in life, um, whether it's, I mean, just anything, going to your counselor, doing just anything, the best policy you can have uh, to living your life is just being honest. Because you don't have to worry about anything you've ever told anybody. If you tell the truth, you never have to worry about what you said. Because when you tell the truth, you remember it. The truth is the truth. When you lie, you don't remember it. So then you're trying to remember what you said as the lie, and then you're going to tell a different lie. And then a couple weeks, month, years, somebody's going to ask you about it, and you're going to tell another lie because you don't remember what you said before. And then when you get called out about it, you're going to tell another lie because you can't remember what you said the previous time. So it's not worth it. Just tell the truth. End of story. That's the way I've lived my life. Have I lied in the past? Of course I have. When being young and being dumb. Yeah. And when I got called out about my lies, I paid the price. I paid the price for them. But I learned my lesson in the Navy about lying. And that carried on with me. Don't lie. And when I got out of the Navy and started on the police department, well, you lie in the police department, your career's dead. Just dead. So it's not worth it. And so it's gone. There's no sense in it. And so now, it's just, I just don't. I can't. There's no, like I said, there's no sense in it because this up here don't work like it used to. And besides that, there's no sense in lying. There's no purpose to it at all. There's just why? Like I said, you're not gaining anything by doing it. You're just not. So tell the truth, and life will be. I guarantee you, life will be 100% easier. So just tell the truth, and you'll be so much happier. But anyway, gosh, I keep going off topic. What else is new, right? Especially if you've been following on my other episodes. I'm sorry. My brain, that's just how my brain's wired. It just, one thing goes and it just keeps going. Anyway, back to my stroke and stuff. It was an experience. I'm glad that I am a survivor of it, and it was a long, hard journey to come back. I'm glad I am. I'm glad I'm sitting here. I'm glad I'm able to share with you the journey that I had, and I'm glad to be able to talk to you about other journeys in my life. I have had a very full and difficult life at times. I'm not saying it was all difficult, but it's been a very rocky journey, to put it lightly. And that's why I felt very strongly about doing this podcast, is to put it out there, because I think people need to hear um, somebody tell their story. Um, and mine's a pretty unique one. I've had people tell me all the time, you need to write a book, you need to tell your story, it's very unique, you need to get out there and say something. um, it would be good for you to do that, but to get things out there, and let it, just talk about it and tell people about it. And I said, that's not a bad idea. Um, and I had already had thought about doing this podcast and stuff, and I thought, maybe I'll just do it, make it part of my podcast, and do intertwine it with the different things that are going on, and just kind of just put things out there, talk about different things, and just kind of, whatever. And this is where I'm at with it all. So, like I said, I'm doing this because uh, I think it needs to be out there. It needs to be done. Um, there's a lot of things that have been happening that people need to hear about. Uh, how to try to get through life, and people need to hear about some of the things that other people have been through and what they have done to make that journey a little bit easier. And that's why I'm doing this, is to try to help people get through that journey. Um, and if I help just one, mission accomplished. Um, it's the same way as it's the same motivation I had um, when I became a police officer. Um, it's the same motivation I had when I considered becoming a priest. Um, I've had a lot of different things, of thoughts and different things that I wanted to do in life. And right now, this is my passion. And I feel very strongly about it. So, with that, we're going to conclude this episode. Uh, we'll be back with more. Uh, what we'll talk about the next time, I have no idea, but I will put something together, and we'll have more. You feel free to leave comments, and I will read them. Um, and I hope everybody has a great day and has great days coming up. God bless you. Take care of yourselves. Be safe. Be aware of where your surroundings are, and take care of yourselves. And God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you for tuning in and watching and listening. Uh, my name's Bob Benham, and this has been Real Thoughts with Bob Benham. Take care. Bye bye.